Imagine if tomorrow all of the millions of tons of ink that is put on paper, all the bytes in our computers and words in general simply disappeared. How would you react? What would happen to society for that matter? The information that makes society function, from a car repair manual to the digital code that controls a nuclear power plant, would be gone. I think you quickly realize that such a society would instantly collapse. The only kind of information left in the world, however, is what we care to memorize. This hypothetical dystopia I have just mentioned was not hypothetical, but a reality just a few millennia ago. Even in ancient Greece, books were near non-existent, but when one was occasionally written, it was only to be used as a tool to memorize its contents. People groomed their memories, improved it, filled it with vast amounts of information. It has only been out of convenience that we today have not needed to spend so much time nurturing our minds in this way. For the Roman emperor, there is no transcript on a blue screen he could read off of. Oftentimes, these great orators would memorize entire speeches just the night before, apparently with ease. Even in the 21st century, there are individuals that can memorize entire decks of cards and poems in just a couple minutes. Yet when interviewed, these supposed savants say that the impressive feats of memory they have achieved anyone can do. So how do they do it? What secret method do they use? They use a technique called the method of loci, or memory palaces for short. In the TED Talk by Joshua Foer, he delves into a surface-level analysis of memory palaces. He himself having won the National Memory Competition in 2006, he could be considered an expert on the topic. In his TED Talk, he discusses exactly what a memory palace is. Essentially, a memory palace is where you visualize the interior of a room you are familiar with, typically your home, and filling these different locations with very strange objects that would be near impossible to forget. Say you needed to email someone about a fishing trip. You could visualize your normal household computer being 10 times its original size, with a big fish bursting through the screen, with the fish vomiting an email onto your table. The more outrageous the visualization is, the longer you will remember it. In Joshua Foer's book, Moonwalking with Einstein, he says, "Our memories aren't perfectly adapted for our contemporary information age. The tasks we often rely on our memories for today simply weren't relevant in the environment in which the human brain evolved. Our ancestors didn't need to recall phone numbers, or word-for-word instructions from their bosses, or the names of dozens of strangers at a cocktail party. Our brains have evolved to remember certain kinds of information more than others." In the book, he continues, "The point of memory techniques is to take the kinds of memories our brains aren't good at holding and transform them into the kinds of memories our brains were built for." So obviously, some of the common everyday uses of memory palaces could be remembering names, phone numbers, the U.S. Constitution, and any other monotonous thing you can think of. College students, for example, are well aware of the gaping holes that technology cannot fill. It is an eternal struggle for graduate students to find the best studying techniques for an upcoming exam. In the present study, we hypothesized that the use of MOL, memory palaces, leads to better understanding of the topic among students, which can be observed through better student performance on assessments. Descriptive analysis showed that all students found the method of loci to be a helpful technique. So as the study indicated, using memory palaces improves the academic success of students. Academic literature is rife with articles and books talking about the psychology behind memory palaces, or formerly known as elaborative encoding. One book goes further into how elaborative encoding works in more detail. Most mnemonic procedures utilize the three memory processes of symbolizing, organizing, and associating. Symbolizing is finding a memorable, preferably imaginable, representation for what is to be learned. But are there other ways to use memory palaces, perhaps in strange ways? Memory competitors must get creative and find different ways to use memory palaces. The method of loci has obvious limitations. It requires a known set of ordered locations and is particularly appropriate for serial recall. To create greater flexibility, professional memory experts developed alternative methods. One interesting way to use a memory palace, and the troves of information you have stored within, is to explore your memory palace while in a state of lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming has been known to have the effect of being as visually realistic as reality, well, minus the reality part. Lucid dreaming is another powerful way to use your brain that has also crept its way into history. What happens when you combine the two? The limitless creativity of lucid dreaming, compounded by the disciplined memory palaces you have cultivated, could prove to be the most powerful life hack of them all. In conclusion, the modern world expects the human brain to naturally remember unnatural information. And this new technology has allowed us to be able to not need to remember. As Joshua 4 has said, we've forgotten how to remember. So if you want to improve your future, you must look at the past to find the gems that have hidden themselves in plain sight.